Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it. It is game week. The NFL season is here. The first week of college football is behind us, and we are solely focused on Thursday night in Philadelphia when the banners are raised. The Philadelphia Eagles team will not be on the field, Nick Sirianni says, when the banner is revealed, but the banner will be revealed. And then it's lights, camera, action like we never left. And it's Birds versus Boys on Thursday night in South Philadelphia with 1-0 on the table in the 2025 NFL season. This is why we created this podcast years ago when we were in mediocrity. And now one of us is here defending a Super Bowl championship against the other. Aiden, welcome.
Good to be here. You could make the argument that this is the biggest Birds versus Boys of Birds versus Boys.
One could argue, and one would probably win the argument.
one would be right in that situation. It's one of the few times that we've had both starting quarterbacks available. It's one of the few times ever these two teams have started the season against each other. It's been over 2 decades since that happened. I don't need to say why this is a big game pregame for the Eagles. It's something that is now only happening for the second time ever where we get to unveil a banner, and it feels special. But I will say this. I have a little confession, Kevin. Do you have any guesses?
Of what your confession could be?
Yes.
You're a little nervous?
I am a little nervous, but I think that's more of lifelong anxiety in my brain. But that is true. That is a good guess. My confession is that I'm not actually ready for the season to start. I've had it pretty good for the past 7 months.
True.
Pretty much, I showed up to the playoffs, and the Eagles played relatively stress-free 3 out of the 4 games, playoff games. So I kind of just spent all of January and February winning playoff games, winning the Super Bowl, going to the parade. I haven't felt stress for an Eagles game in quite some time. And when stress pops up in real life, I could always fall back on the fact that the Eagles won the Super Bowl and they are the defending Super Bowl champions. When the Bills are due and it's stressful, I say to myself, well, at least the Eagles won. And I'm like, why is Pico 3 times higher than it used to be? Thank God the Eagles won, though. But now, if they come out and they don't look as good, I don't have that to fall back on.
You still do. Because I've had 30 years of not having that to fall back on, Aiden.
See what that does to a person? I don't want it to be like, at least the Birds won in 25. Like, no. When it's 2050, no. It'll be 110 degrees during January, and I'll be like, at least the Eagles won against the Chiefs. February 2025.
At least they played in a dome, not for missing out on snow, but because the players wouldn't be able to breathe and their cleats would be melting.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. Don't get me wrong. I'm super excited to be here, to be doing this show. I just think from our perspective, this is such a huge moment. We've seen it in the numbers in our first shows of, we'll call it the season, but it was really still preseason. The numbers have spiked. The subscribers have spiked. The YouTube short video views have spiked. That's awesome to see. And I'm excited to keep that rolling right into this game and preview this one.
And I will say, we're here. We're excited. We could not be more happy for our avid followers, our avid commenters. We appreciate everything you guys do. It's going to be a very fun ride this season, maybe more fun for one of us than the other. But even if it's miserable for one of us or both of us, we will still have fun. And for the most part, I would say some of our best content came out of anger for these teams over the past 5 years.
Yeah, that is very accurate, and the numbers have showed that as well. I think people like to see us a little miserable. Lucky for them, one way or another, they are getting that Thursday, September 4th. Well, somebody's going to be miserable between the two of us, and I'm very, very excited for that aspect of going back and forth during the game.
Can I just jump right into a point I kind of want to discuss about this game? And
Yes, please.
I think it's an important one to lead off with.
Go for it.
Um, I keep hearing, and listen, Cowboys fans that are listening, don't I have been called um, a hater of my own team, a hater of my own fan base, and I will admit I am a hater of my own fan base. Um, but I keep hearing, and listen, I'm thrilled that Four is back. Right, I'm thrilled that Dak is back. I think he's got a chance with the weapons around him to do some
Yes.
things this year, and the offense is going to have to do a lot of
Hmm.
those things if they want to win football games this year with what the defense may or may not provide this year. But I keep hearing the narrative that Dak is 9-4 against the Eagles. Dak always shows up against these dudes. Dak always plays well against this team. I get it. He is 9-4 against the Eagles all time. He has and won in that building. However, Dak did not play against the Philadelphia Eagles once last year. Dak has never seen Cooper DeJean. Dak has not played against Campbell. Dak has only seen a small amount of Jalen Carter. Dak's kryptonite is Vic Fangio. This Philadelphia Eagles team is not the same Philadelphia Eagles team that he has played and had success with in the past. So can we stop with the Dak owns these dudes? These are different dudes all around.
That's actually perfect because I was prepared to come in here today and say the opposite. I was prepared to say that Dak has had success against the Eagles in the past, and even though these two franchises have had alternating like paths of success in terms of playoffs and everything like that, I was going to say, but Dak himself has played pretty well against the Eagles, and I expect him with these new weapons in George Pickens and having a healthy CeeDee Lamb and being healthy himself, that I think they'll be able to put up points. I do not expect this to be a shootout, or I'm sorry, I don't expect it to be a blowout, but I do expect it to be a shootout. And I go back probably in terms of sample size, the closest that we have gotten to what this game will be was 2023 when the Eagles won by that. There was a late push by the Cowboys to get down the field. They come up just short at the goal line. I think that's our most recent sample size that we can match up to. And I think there are some similarities in that game where we were having secondary issues. And without having seen these guys on the field yet, you say he's never seen Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, and that is absolutely true. And it's a lot tougher. But Adoree Jackson has also never played as an Eagle against Dak
True.
Prescott and George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. And Sidney Brown has never played against Dak Prescott as a starting safety, or Andrew Makuba has never played against Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. So it's so funny that you come in and you're like, hold on, Cowboys fans, you got to relax. And I'm like, hold on, Eagles fans, we got to relax.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the dichotomy of this show that is the complete opposite of what we thought it would be when we started this show.
Yeah. It's called Birds versus Boys, but we didn't tell you which side we were going to be on. It's not specified who has to be bird and who has to be boy.
We float. It's like an amoeba. We always root for our
Yes.
same team, but we always are real, I think, in our takes and our I will never homer it ever. I'm never gonna be like,
Mm-mm.
I think Dak's gonna go in there and he's gonna throw 400 yards because he's Dak Prescott and he has the star in his helmet. DC4L.
not gonna happen here. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I feel with real life and real football conversations. So that is interesting. And I do agree with everything that you are saying. I think the one thing that I just keep going back to in my head is I think of Pedro Martinez in the World Series, and he's saying to the Yankees that you are my daddy. Now they're not in the World Series. I'm sorry, the ALCS. Now the Red Sox came back and won, but Vic Fangio is Dak Prescott's daddy. He literally created the defense that other teams have run against him when he was in Denver. That shell cover two that Dak couldn't figure out. So, even though there are some pieces that may be new to you guys, I just feel like you have an advantage in scheme and coaching to hopefully, well, not hopefully on my end, put those players in the right position to succeed against a Dak Prescott.
Yeah, and to parlay that, I think one of the advantages that the Eagles do have is being a known commodity on offense, whereas the Cowboys are not yet, which would be very difficult if you're playing a Vic Fangio defense. It's the first time in 10 years that they haven't had Zach Martin on that line, and it's a rookie making his first start. It's a lot of young guys on that line in general, and I think for the Eagles, it's the opposite. They might have a new offensive coordinator, but this is the same 11. The only difference, slightly, is Mekhi Becton, who Tyler Steen, who's now the starter, played multiple times and started multiple times last year. It is the same offense. And I think in a week one scenario, it's easier to get off smoothly and soundly when you have that familiarity and you are a known commodity. I think that's the biggest advantage is I feel like it's less rigid when you've done this before together.
Speaking of together and offensive lines, and that's a perfect segue to the next point, is there are two massive question marks for each of us on the defense or on the offensive line heading into this game.
Yeah.
And it was pretty funny that I looked this morning, I believe, report for both teams, very small for both teams, which is a good thing, and you would expect that at this point of the year. But I saw Landon Dickerson, then I saw did not participate back, and I was like, is that a typo? I'm confused.
I know,
so talk
right?
to me about
Yeah,
that.
tears his meniscus, hurts his back. But hey, as we are both now into our 30s, and I think we can relate to this. Where if you're aching someplace, you use other places on your body to make up for it. So when the knees are sore, you're kind of leaning a little bit.
Can I give an old man 30s take on that because it's perfect because I
Yes.
can't not stop moving because my back is thrown out. My daughter and her cousins and stuff at my in-laws' house, they have a pool. They have this water table. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those, like a plastic thing. You put water in it and kids play. It stands up. And I brought it from the backyard to the pool area and I put it down. I was like, do I want to go like take buckets from the pool and walk it over? I mean, no, I don't want to do that. So I dipped it into the pool as far down. This thing got heavy and I lifted it up and I guess I didn't use my legs. And as I was trying to lift this entire thing out of the pool, I heard, and I was like, whoa, I've never felt that before. And back has not been good since. So yes, right there with you. Happy. I'm 38, I think. 37, 38. Yeah.
There you go.
It's great.
You and Landon Dickerson playing injured. But you're right. Trying to overcompensate, you hurt the back. And I think that's what he did. I listen, if you would have come to our cookout, you wouldn't have had to pick anything up heavy.
True.
You would have been fine.
Cookout looked a lot more fun than listening to Pete the Cat and his White Shoes song 1,000 times in a row.
That did not make the DJ set list. The DJ did take requests. So maybe we could have set that one up for you, but it wasn't on our playlist.
So will he be there Thursday night is the big question.
He will be there Thursday night. I do worry about that aspect of, when your back is sore, kind of impacts everything else. And his back is sore because he is putting a lot of pressure on a surgically repaired knee. So is this going to be a situation where after 2 series, his back tightens up and we have to go to the next man up? That's my biggest concern. Will he start this game? Will he have a helmet on? Yeah, absolutely. Kind of is reminiscent of the NFC Championship game where he was like an emergency situation, him and Cam both. So they kind of each played a half. And I don't know if that's a similar situation that we get into week one, but it is absolutely something to monitor, even if he's a full go.
I mean, that's a massive, massive win for you if he does play and play well, because a lot of the pressure now, I would say, is going to be coming up the middle from the Cowboys with the addition of Kenny Clark. I think there's going to be a lot more onus on teams focusing on Kenny Clark and Osa Odighizuwa, and then being able to also now kind of spread out along the defensive line their attention rather than, oh shit, there's Micah Parsons, let's stop him and then figure out the rest. Now it's just like, all right, let's just figure it out. But I think a little bit more of the onus is going to be on that interior.
Oh, in which that is another one that kind of plays to the Eagles' strengths, where they have those three in the middle, at least two with Cam and Landon when they're healthy, that they can kind of pin down, and you kind of expect them to open some holes in the gaps. I'd say the other advantage that the Eagles have, the two things that stick out, were one, like I talked about, being that known commodity, and two, last year and over the course of a few years, what they've been able to do. They have the propensity to go on 6 to 7 minute drives in the fourth quarter where they just get behind that offensive line and they say, yeah, well, this is over. Yeah.
Yep.
We just decided we're done playing with you. So we're just going to steamroll you. And will the Cowboys have enough depth, enough firepower to be able to do that? Maybe interior, but I think, like in basketball, you use that term. You just need a guy who needs to get a bucket sometimes, right?
Yep.
Like you just need to have the guy who can get to the rim. Micah Parsons was the guy who could get to the rim on 3rd and 7. Without that, where does that come from to stop these long 6 to 7 minute drives?
Do you know where the Cowboys ranked on EPA per play when Micah Parsons was on the field his entire career for the Cowboys?
First,
Yeah. Do you know where they rank over his career when he's not on the field?
32nd dead last.
Last. Yep. Okay. Awesome. So where do you think the Cowboys should play their all-pro generational pass rusher against? What do you think against the Eagles Thursday? Where do you think they should? The right side, the left side, up the middle, or Green Bay?
I was going to say, luckily, I now have 2 months to be able to answer this question for when we go into Lambeau on Monday Night Football, because I don't have a great answer for you, and nobody seems to. And I think that stat you just used, if I were in trade negotiations and I needed a haul for generational talent, I might bring that up.
So Ezraku, yeah, I don't know about the depth. We'll see. I mean, they have.
We like him.
I've really enjoyed their pass rush room, like their ends. I think they have with Micah Parsons, right? It was like, oh, Dante Fowler's a 10 sack guy. I wonder what he's going to be able to do with Micah Parsons on the other side. Ooh, Ezraku, rookie, 2nd round pick. Everybody loves him. They got great value with him. He is probably one of the most ready pass rushers coming out of that draft in terms of tools and intangibles to get to the quarterback. Imagine that with Micah Parsons on the other side. Ooh,
yes.
I really think that Nealon has elevated his game imagine what he's going to. Now you're counting on a rookie from Boston College to be that guy. You are expecting Dante Fowler to be a 10 sack guy or more. You are expecting that Marshawn Nealon has taken that step and is going to deliver, all while not getting one-on-ones anymore because you don't have that Micah Parsons for offensives to focus on. And that is terrifying.
Yes. It's to keep using sports analogies. Let's shift to baseball. There's certain guys in a lineup that are really good in like the 6 or 7 hole because they hit there. They don't really have to protect anybody in the lineup. It's more free swinging, less pressure. If they're batting cleanup, that becomes a lot harder for them because then you're protecting the beginning of the lineup. You're counted on more often to drive runners in scoring position in. It's the same here where those guys, especially a rookie in Ezraku making his first start, it would be better for them if they had somebody else that they could lean on instead of being the featured guy. In that role, Dante Fowler is a 10 sack guy because he's not accepting double teams. Now, when more pressure from Malata or Lane Johnson is on him, how effective and impactful can he be? So that, again, I feel like we're talking about this now for this game. Kevin, I believe that this is just going to be a weekly thing. Like that Ezraku could be good and we'll still be talking about this because we're like, they traded away a generational edge talent and now they're struggling to get pressure.
Or imagine what Ezraku could be right now if he had Micah Parsons on the other side.
Think of that tandem if Ezraku is who you and I believed he could be during the draft process. And in 6 weeks from now, you're probably getting DeMario Overshown back as well. Then you have quite the nitro you would have had quite the nitro package of guys that you say to yourself, yeah, like third and 12, you guys all be on the field. I don't care what you do. Just get there fast.
It's a NASCAR package.
The
Just
NASCAR
go.
nitro.
Speed. But now they don't have that. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can try and slow down this Eagles rushing attack and passing attack while facing one of the best offensive lines in the league and not having your generational pass rush. I
Yeah.
think, and the thing with Eberflus is he has never used blitzing to get to the quarterback. He's always like, we're going to rush forward and we're going to cover. I think he's going to have to step outside the box a little bit and try and create pressure, which he has not been good at in his career as a DC or a head coach. So I think he's going to have to kind of almost do what Dan Quinn did when he came to Dallas and step outside of his box and do some things that he was not comfortable with to use the pieces that he has. Because I don't think he can just play an Eberflus type defense anymore. How pissed do you think he was? He was probably like, "Are you fucking kidding me right now?"
We'll find out, right? We've got Hard Knocks during the season. We might actually get his actual reaction to this trade, raw and unfiltered.
As we should. So, but he's going to have to change and step out of his comfort zone, I believe, to be successful this year. And what success looks like, maybe not giving up 35 a game would be successful.
Yeah, I genuinely think on Thursday, I was going to say this at the end if we do like predictions or whatever, they got to keep it under 30. So it's so funny. Like maybe not give up 35. And I'm like, yeah, just don't give up. Just don't let them hit 30. I do think what you're going to see from the Eagles, I think despite the Saquon lore, number one player in the league as voted by the players, I think they're going to come out and throw it pretty often to start this game. Like I think they're going to be in shotgun quite a bit. I think they're going to try to spread them out quite a bit.
They should.
I think they're going to try to turn it into a track meet early and then pin them on the mat late.
They should. I mean, think about the cornerback room right now. I mean, everybody's like, "Oh, Diggs is on off pup, and Diggs is not playing in this game, guys." So stop. He was taken off pup so he could be at practices and be in meeting rooms and be with the team. Their actual timeline for him was they want 8. I said this last week. They want 8 weeks minimum of conditioning for him. 8 weeks minimum would be week 2. If you read the tea leaves of what Trayvon's been saying, he's expecting week 3, week 4 for himself. So let's take out of the equation week 1, okay? He hasn't practiced all off season. He's just been rehabbing. He's not going to step out there week 1 on Thursday night coming off the knee injury with barely any practices with the team and go lock up A.J. Brown, okay? Not happening. And then, okay, Deron Bland, power to you. Deron Bland just got paid. It's funny how they're giving everybody else 4-year deals, but Micah, they were demanding a 5-year deal. But he gets a 4-year deal. He's now the 6th highest paid cornerback in the league. Is he the 6th best cornerback in the league? I don't know. But you put him out there. He's number 1. Then you have Kaiir Elam, who has had a really, really good camp. I think you can argue he's had the best offseason of any cornerback in Dallas and maybe top 3, top 4 of any player on the team. But again, we've seen this before with him in Buffalo. He always showed up in camp, in practices, in offseason. And then when the games came, when the lights got bright, it didn't. 1 + 1 didn't equal 2. So you have him out there. And then it's like, okay, who's playing the slot? You had Childress all off season, then you cut him, then you brought him back to the practice squad. You went in and got these 2 dudes off waivers. The one guy from the Bears, who I think is going to start, he's a flux guy, but it's like, is Andrew Booth going to play, or is he going to be inactive? There are so many question marks, is what I'm saying with this cornerback room. Is that you should attack. That is, I don't want to even say that that's your advantage. Everything's the advantage. I feel you run the ball, you pass the ball. They're both advantages. But why not do the thing that you might not? What am I your pep guy? Am I pepping you up now for this game?
You are. I'm like, oh yeah. I did a podcast. Shout out to those guys. I can plug them. The Patterson Report. I was on their podcast last week, and I used the craziest analogy, and I started it, and I realized that I'm not on my home turf, and they might not want this, but I was like, yeah, it's just like the Civil War. And I was like, oh, right, rough start.
Here we
But I
go.
was just like, the beginning of the Civil War, the Confederacy was actually winning because they were just better at strategy and had better generals. And then in the final battle, when they conceded, it was just because the Union was lining up and they basically were like, we have more people than they do and more guns. So we can just go through these lines more and we can sustain more losses and still win. They're like, we just have more guys and more guns. And that's what I was hyping myself up. I was like looking at these depth charts and I was like, oh yeah, we just have more guys and more guns. That's it.
It's true. So they are who we thought they were. That's who
Yeah.
you got to remember. But like back to your point, I think I am terrified of DeVonta Smith in this game, especially out of the
I'm
slot. So I don't know who's going to cover him. He's going to, I think, slants, deep posts, go routes. I think that's a huge advantage for the Eagles Thursday night.
I said this last year, so I doesn't hold as much value, but I think this is the breakout year for DeVonta Smith. Here. And when I say breakout, that's a little undermining of how successful he's been. But I'm talking like this dude could be like top 10 in receptions in the league. And he probably would have been if it wasn't for the fact that A.J. Brown plays across from him. But I think this is a year where you see him be like, to me, these receivers always love to do we're 1 and 1A, we're 1A and 1B. No one ever wants to be wide receiver 2. Well, guess what? I'm just going to say it. I love DeVonta Smith. He's been wide receiver 2, and that's okay. But I think this year is the year where you kind of have them on the same pedestal, and I think you're going to see career numbers from DeVonta.
And I love when they're all like, we're in it together. We're 1A. I don't care about being number 2. I'm just here for the team until the Cowboys go out and lose 35-17 week 4 against the Packers. And Pickens has 1 catch for 8 yards on 3 targets. And the media is talking to him afterwards. Like, oh, why'd you lose this game? He's like, talk to Dak. And then we see how everybody loves being 1 and 1A. Mark that tape right there.
Which happens first? He gets tired of being 1A, or an interception is thrown and he's fighting a safety behind the interception?
Both in the same game.
But it could be at the same moment, to be honest with you. I'm excited for so the last time Sidney Brown was on the field with the Cowboys, he fought 2 of them on a punt return, and now he will be lining up on the same side of the field as George Pickens. So I'm very curious to see how this process goes with those 2.
I think the NFL could actually just sell tickets to that as like an MMA fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a matchup to watch for the extracurriculars. The non-extracurricular matchup to watch: the debut of of the Jalen Carter stopper against Jalen Carter.
I love they asked Clayton Adams about this, who's the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. He was the run game coordinator for Arizona last year, and they asked him the specific question about Booker going up against Jalen Carter, and he kind of almost like danced, like, how do you think he's going to do? And then he like danced around it, and he's like, I think it's a great opportunity for him. I think this is great for him to learn. And I think 10 weeks down the line, we're going to be like, wow, look how much he's grown. And I'm like, that didn't show me too much faith in right now. That's like, okay, look how much he got his ass kicked week 1 against Jalen Carter. Now look 10 weeks later how much he's grown. That was the
wow. I'm so glad that you told me that quote. I will be referencing this and citing this all week.
Let me make sure I'll find you the real quote, so when you're actually quoting it, you're not getting in trouble. But
okay, yeah, we'll do our homework. It's like the Rogan podcast. Sometimes they'll say something and then they'll be like, "Oh, you got to look that up," and then they look it up and it's like nothing related to what they were saying.
Not even close. All right,
but regardless, no matter how far Tyler Booker is into his progress and how the offensive coordinator is coding that, this will be probably the toughest test that he faces all year, and it happens immediately. I feel a little bad for the kid because I feel like he's been set up for failure. He didn't nickname himself the Jalen Carter stopper.
No.
And literally week 1, he gets thrust into the spotlight. He doesn't get to start against, the Giants or any. Well, they got Dexter Lawrence, so it's not going to be fun for the next 2 weeks, but it just feels like he was set up for failure.
So Todd Archer has a quote here. Rookie guard Tyler Booker will see Eagles defensive tackles Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis week 1, and offensive coordinator Clayton Adams can't wait. Quote, we'll look back probably in 10 or 11 weeks and go, wow, look how much he's grown. I'm excited for him to go out week 1 and put the ball down and let's frickin' play.
That's better, but the that line of like, yeah, in 3 months I think he'll be a lot better than he is now. It's like, well, you have to be at your tip top in about 48
I don't think
hours.
that's what he meant to say. Like, I don't think that's what he means. Like, oh, I don't think he's ready. Like, because he has looked good in camp, but like, yeah.
It does feel like a quote that he might have tripped up on his words, and it was not a ringing endorse. That honestly sounds like something Vic Fangio would say, because he doesn't ever sugarcoat anything. He'll be like, yeah, he'll be good in 3 months.
Speaking about not sugarcoating everything, how about Bill Belichick out there having his 24-year-old girlfriend on the sideline during warm-ups and then going out and getting dog walked?
If you're a UNC donor, what do you do or say after that? I think I'd be so mad I'd pull my money immediately.
I would say, like, I think all those rumors and stuff about the school demanding her not to be around are true.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a disaster. I don't think he makes it 2 years.
Which you need 2 years to build a collegiate program. Transfer portal is good to like. The transfer portal is your icing on top of a cake, but you need a lot of flour and sugar and milk to get to the point that you even need icing for your cake.
And
chocolate.
And speaking about cake, like these young kids, Bill Belichick is nothing to them. They weren't growing up when he was winning Super Bowls and when he was a god. He's just some old dude now, right? They want to go play for Marcus Freeman. They want to go play for Sark, like those guys. So I think if the money's even, they're not going to be, oh, I got to go play for Coach Bill Belichick and not have any fun. That's what I'm going to go do.
Yeah, and it's also, it's like in college, the money does matter to an extent, but I feel like it's so much more just having the amount of talent, and it's not. I think he was better in the NFL because of how schematically what a genius he is.
Yep.
These offenses these days in college like aren't that complex, right? Like I feel like a lot of it is yeah. We have a 5-star blue chip receiver. There's no one in the conference who can cover him. Like I feel like that is half the battle, and I know that's like selling it short, but that is a lot of it.
Yes. Yep. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what. I'm glad we're talking about that now. I'm glad we probably won't talk about that. That's been a storyline for so long, and they hadn't played a game yet. And the first one they do, they get smoked. So I'm like, all right, cool.
And I will say, I think the storyline also led into why they got smoked, because I think TCU felt very underappreciated and disrespected, and they had ESPN there, and they had the cheerleaders up there, and Teddy Bruschi and everybody talking about Bill Belichick in the pregame, and it was all about Belichick, and then they were like, let's just go play fucking football and see what happens.
If you're the head coach at TCU, that might have been the easiest pregame speech in the locker room to ever give. Yep. That'll be the easiest one you ever give in your life.
I might have not even said anything, and that's that's actually really funny. And this leads back to the Cowboys. I was watching the Netflix documentary about the gambler, and they were talking about Michael Irvin and how when he was at Miami, obviously he had Jimmy Johnson, and Jimmy would give these fiery speeches, and they were winning national championships. And he went into Dallas his rookie year, and they were one of the worst teams in the league. And Tom Landry was like an old man then, and he got in. He's like, I was ready for Tom to give one of those fiery speeches. I was used to a Jimmy, and he stood up there and he goes, all right, boys, let's try and keep this one close. And then he walked out onto the field, and Mike Lord was like, "That's it? That's the
That's funny. There's some coaches that's like, yeah, but they are not hoorah guys.
Let's try
Real
and keep
quick
this one
before
close."
we'll finish up on Notre Dame, or I'm sorry, finish up on Cowboys Eagles. But first,
I don't
thoughts
want to talk
on
about
Notre
Notre
Dame. You don't want to talk about it?
No, that was fine. I did not expect them to go into Miami and win. I thought it was going to be a tough game. Obviously, Carson Beck's a good quarterback. That environment, they have not succeeded down in that environment against Notre Dame, except they succeeded in that environment against Penn State. They haven't won in Miami against Miami, I think, in like 6 or 7 attempts. They had a freshman quarterback who I think is going to be very good. My question is, why didn't you give it to the best running back in the game at all to start the game?
True. You might want to use him. But listen, we'll look back in 3 months and say, wow, has this freshman quarterback grown?
Look how much he's grown.
And I'll tell you what, as we get ready for this little appetizer matchup, Eagles Cowboys, the main show. Not enough people are talking about Temple, 48-10, throwing 6 touchdown passes. Evan Simon's helmet sticker, 1-0 Temple Owls in football.
How about it?
Smoked UMass.
I think immediately after that game, they should have walked right to the city officials and signed a contract to build a stadium.
Correct. We will, if you're not going to build the arena for the Sixers, we will take those dollars and put it to our own stadium. College game day. We'll see you week 3 for Temple, Oklahoma.
Let's go. Let's go.
Back.
One question for you too. Oh, yep.
What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, start of the game here. I want mentality. Yep. Coin toss. You win it.
You know my strategy, and I don't want them to change anything. I want you kick it, you defer, you take the ball at the half. It's tried and true strategy. I believe in it. They believe in it. If they're so dead set on how everything's a new year. They don't care about the Super Bowl thing. Well, then don't take the ball first and be uber aggressive because of what the moment is. Be normal. That would be what you normally do, is defer. You put your defense on the field first, and then you get the ball at the end of the half so you can get points and get the ball to start the second half. So if they're going to really play up this, we didn't even know it was banner night, we're not even going to be on the field for it, then I want it concise and I want normalcy.
And I would agree on my end as well, because that's my strategy always. 2, it is banner night, Nick. The crowd is going to be wild. The worst thing that could happen is you get the ball in that raucous environment and go 3 and out. Like there is not going to be a worse thing to start the season than that. And 2, you have more of a chance, I feel like, in the second half getting the ball when maybe people are still in line for the bathroom or trying to get a couple beers, or the nachos line is really long and not everybody's back in their seats in time, and you have the ball as an away team in Philly, and maybe you get a little tiny bit less raucous to start the second half with the ball.
Absolutely.
So I would do the same thing.
Yeah. One quick thing, because I feel like it's in the news and we have to address it. I feel bad that the Eagles had to put out like a statement. I think they know that they are hopeless in this situation, but they had to come out and ask people who are not attending the game to not come down and tailgate. This is a primetime game with perfect weather, a season opener that we have uniquely only gotten to do twice with a banner ceremony. It is the biggest rivalry that we have as a team. It is a perfect blend, sugar, spice, and everything nice, Powder Puff Girls edition of the greatest tailgate of all time. They could beg and plead for people not to come down and tailgate. There's no stopping it. And I don't know what they're going to do.
It's going to be just a disaster. That's all it's going to be.
Yeah. It'll be a transportation nightmare, but the tailgate is, there's nothing they could do. It's going to roll on.
People are going to be it's going to be Friday morning at 6:45 a.m. and people are still going to be waiting for Ubers.
Oh yeah, there's going to be and you know those videos that are going
Surge
to come out
pricing
Thursday.
at its finest Thursday night.
Oh my goodness, that surcharge is going to be your month's rent right there. See, this is why the Eagles to scale it all the way back to the beginning. The Eagles being Super Bowl champions, when I get surcharged on an Uber, I can just be like, well, at least the Eagles won the Super Bowl. If I get surcharged and we lose to the Cowboys, I have nothing to fall back on. Then I'm just gonna be upset.
You're back to booing and ripping jerseys and being pissed off.
Yeah. Start this game down 10-0. I'm gonna freak out.
It's like the Super Bowl
Listen,
never happened.
if it's a new year and I can't cite the Super Bowl like you don't want me to, Eagles, then better win.
And
no.
get up quick.
Yeah. I do think so. We touched on this before, but just to finish it off, I don't think this will be a blowout. I do think that the Cowboys are going to be able to put up some points. I think that they are going to be able to air it out. I think they're going to want to air it out with a healthy CD, Dak, and Pickens trio for the first time. It helps ease that run game. But for the Eagles, I just think they got guys. Like they just got guys. There's more talent. There's more firepower. If it comes down to it in the fourth quarter, they probably go back to tried and true. We're up by 6. We're going to get behind this offensive line. We end this thing. You're going to get the ball back with 40 seconds. Best of luck to see if you can get down the field before Jalen Carter gets there. And that it ends 34-28.
Wow. Okay. So we're pretty close. I have had visions in the past of games where the Cowboys should not win that I thought, you know what, I think they're going to, and they have. Like the Saints game years ago, I think it was a Sunday night. Saints were undefeated. They went into the Superdome, won that game. Into Seattle, where Terrence Williams had that unbelievable sideline catch. I was like, Legion of Boom. They went in and won, and I thought they had a shot. I don't know what it is. I'm excited about Brian Schottenheimer. I'm excited about George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb together. Maybe it's because I also cannot get the Eagles Super Bowl run out of my mind because I live with it every day in my house and I deal with it with you every day. I'm not getting that same feeling that the Cowboys can go in and win this game, even though it's world against them. Everybody's picking the Eagles. They just traded away Micah Parsons. It's coming together as a team when nobody says we're going to do it. We're going to go in and ruin banner night.
Mm-hmm.
If they do it, awesome. But I'm going 37-24 Eagles.
Okay. I like it.
I think the Eagles are going to be able to put up points against this Cowboys defense. I think the Cowboys are going to be able to put up points, but I don't think they're going to be able to put up enough.
We agree, just not maybe we think it's a larger score variance, but we think same thought process. There's just not enough to keep up in the race. That is speaking of pregame speeches, that'll be another easy one for Brian Schottenheimer. Another easy pregame speech. Everybody is against you. Nobody is picking you. This is a new era that you get to choose who to be and set the tone.
Yep.
There you go.
And this is your time to set the tone, Shotty. Go out and do what you do. Figure it out. But there's also for him, there could not be a bigger stage for your first ever head coaching game.
Probably, the ownership group has done him no favors in making this the biggest possible spotlight. But hey, I'll tell you what, we'll take it. And I'll end with one thing. This is my dream scenario. In 2018, for the banner ceremony game, we didn't really get a banner ceremony because of the thunderstorms.
Yep.
But what we
and
did get
it is
in the
supposed
first
to rain
quarter,
again.
Is it?
Yeah, I just saw rain Thursday.
Thunderstorms? It was hot that day. I was at that game. It was humid. It was so hot. We've been getting fall weather already.
40% chance of rain. So
that's, we'll take that these days. 88. It's going to be 80 and sunny during the day, and they're asking people not to tailgate. I feel bad. The floodgates are going to open on that one real fast.
Well, Philadelphia
in that
has
game,
83 and pure sun, no rain. So
beautiful. during that 2018 game, they had a goal line stand against the Falcons. It's the loudest I've ever heard the stadium, including the NFC Championship game. So if we get another variance of that in this game with an early goal line stand against the Cowboys, man, that place is going to be set off. It'll be electric. So that's my dream scenario. Hopeful for it all. But as always, I will just take the win.
And I'm going to end with this to start the entire NFL season. I put out a tweet like this, but if at the Super Bowl this upcoming year, Taylor Swift is performing at halftime, singing a brand new song announcing that she's pregnant in a game the Chiefs are winning, and then Travis Kelce retires after the game, I will jump on the bandwagon that the NFL is rigged, the earth is flat, aliens roam among us, and every other conspiracy theory that is out there.
I think that's fair. What a marketing ploy.
Can you imagine? Oh, all right, everybody. The season is here. We both think the Eagles are going to win the first game. Throw down below in your comments section, what do you think the score will be Thursday night? Aiden and I are going to be putting out a couple mini episodes as well this week.
Yes.
Every year we put out our predictions for the division winners, wild card, MVP, all that good stuff. Instead of lumping it in this episode, we wanted to strictly focus just on the game, the Eagles and the Cowboys. Look for that on our YouTube page as well. Make sure you are subscribed everywhere to get our content possible. Birds vs. Boys Pod right here on the YouTube channel. If you like to look at our faces, make sure you smash that subscribe button if it's your first time here. Thank you and welcome. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, we are there at Birds vs. Boys. And then anywhere on the socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Birds vs. Boys Pod. It's going to be a fun ride. It's going to be a ride. We'll see how much fun it is this year. But it's going to be fun right here. Aiden, my last question to you before we leave. Over under 5.5 times the name Micah Parsons is said during the broadcast.
Over. And for the last time, at least the Eagles are Super Bowl champions.
Chris Hansen here, and I'm going to need you all to take a seat right over there and check out Birds versus Boys.
I think you're completely right here, and I hate it.
Yep. Hey, idiots. Stop doing dumb things.
I got 2 phones.
Upside alert. I might go insane.
I think you're already there.
There's no hope. Hope is gone.
If this was an AFC North podcast, we'd be done in 15 minutes.
Bob Hope.
I'm going to drink bleach. That
Be the team you promised me you were going to be this year.
This is the Consciously Hopeful podcast.
I'll be watching.